I'm Edie.
I'm Judy.
And together we're the Rainbow Grannies. We had talked about a subject we wanted to talk about today, and it had to do with what to not say to your children that are coming out, and then maybe what to say to them when they're coming out. It turns out that a lot of people are saying some pretty messed up stuff, and they don't even realize they're saying it. So
So,
we're here.
so like one of the things they'll say is it's just a phase. Nah, it's not
I
just
think
a
Pop Rock's candy was a phase, you know? Click Clacks was a phase. Oh, yeah,
pet
yeah.
rock. Pet rock with a phase.
Yeah, Pet Rock. So one of the things we saw on here was that the first thing you're not supposed to say to them too is, "Are you sure?" Well, when you
Chance,
say, "Are you sure?"
I mean, chances are your kid had been thinking about this for a really long time. And the last thing the kid wants to do is say, Mom, Dad, I think I'm gay, because they don't want their mom and dad to reject them. And
Right.
so by the time they say it, they're sure.
Well, they build up to it so much to try to get to that point, you know. So just trying to figure it all out. They're that just to say, "Are you sure?" It's not giving them the affirmation they need.
So another thing you might say is, how do you know? Well, how did you know you were straight? You
Right.
know?
I think we're supposed to be a little more just compassionate and just sort of sit there for a little while and listen to them, without, how do you know? Because, they've gone through a lot. That's what we're trying to say. They've gone through a lot just to build up to the moment to say.
I mean, sometimes if somebody, if you want to say, how do you know, and to stop yourself, might just who you question out on. You got to question someone?
Right.
Because
So
chances are,
they probably have noticed someone, you know. But then also they say another thing not to say to somebody is you won't feel that way in a few months. Well, I mean that's the same thing as saying it's just a phase, you
right,
know. I
right.
guess this is just a list. Evidently, we found where these are a list of things that people are saying to their children that are just
It's more like you're hoping it will go away
yeah,
as a parent, but it's not going to go away. And so to tell your kid it's going to go away is kind of dismissing them again. It is my favorite. One of the things is, well, let's just keep it between us. Don't tell anybody else yet. When I was coming out into the lesbian community, we heard that the biggest dad killer was to say, "Dad, I'm gay." So it's like, don't tell your father, or kill him.
right. Don't tell grandma. Don't tell grandma. Don't tell your
Chances are,
dad.
grandma already knows because grandma seems to know a lot of things that we don't realize grandma knows.
Right.
If you were to say, just keep it between us, that kind of says it's a bad thing, it's a secret, don't tell anybody. But if you were to say, I need time to think about this, can you give me time to think about this before we tell everybody else? Then you're letting the kid know, just like your kid needed 10 years or 15 years to think about it for themselves before telling, you're letting the kid know you need time too.
Right. So then another thing is you're not supposed to say that's because you're hanging out with that so and so. I knew she was a bad influence or I knew he was a bad influence on you. It's not anybody else's fault that your child is gay.
And it's
It's
not
not
your
your
fault
fault.
either. You don't get to take the credit for it.
Nope.
We're gay
Nope.
because we're gay.
That's it. It is
I'm
what it
left-handed.
is.
You're right-handed, right?
Yep.
See, and I'm left-handed. It's nobody's fault. We are what we are. Another thing was not to say is, well, it's just because the way it's accepted nowadays that we can understand why you might be a little confused.
Right.
You know, I knew since I was 3, I didn't hear what people were saying.
Right. They didn't talk about it at all back then.
No.
Or if we did, it was so negative. It didn't encourage us to be gay.
Right. And sometimes some confusion might be, well, I'm not sure if I'm gay or if I'm pansexual or if I'm, and then you got to like, tell me, please, what do these things mean? Let me learn with you.
Right, right. And that's another thing too we'll touch on is that there are so many different things that the kids are dealing with now. Used to be that we all knew we were either gay, straight, and that was it. There was just no in between. Now there's so many other things to deal with and to think about. And so your kids are coming at you and they may say, "Mom, I think I'm asexual," or whatever it may be. So,
Right.
but we just have to come back with the right responses so that we don't
Yes.
shoot the kids down. We don't hurt their feelings. We don't make them want to run out and kill themselves because God only knows there's so much of that. As parents, as adults and caregivers and stuff that we should do is to say, thank you for trusting me, for being able to share that information with me. I'm here
Right.
for you because that's what with being rainbow grannies, that's what a lot of kids are coming at us with. They're just
Right.
happy they got somebody to share it with. They don't know me. They don't know Judy.
But they do know that we open a world of welcome to
Right.
everybody in
And that we're
LGBT
accepting.
community. You're right.
Right. That's what they suggest parents say is, I'm glad that you told me, and this won't change anything between us because they're all worried about mom's going to treat me different now.
Right.
Dad's going to treat me different. They're not going to love me like they did before when I was Bobby, their little boy, or Sally,
Mhm.
their little girl. Now all of a sudden they look at me different.
Right. I mean, here's something we've seen happen if they're an adult and they're 20 years old and they come out. Some kids, they come out at 20 and then their parents start calling them on the phone.
Yeah.
And I think, why aren't they calling me? They must hate me. And then we find out the parents start calling because they think every time they call, they might be in bed with somebody. And they don't want to call their kid when they're in bed. The kid's not in bed with somebody 24 hours a day.
They could only be that lucky.
Yeah.
But they're not. Because guess what? It's the same as straight people. I mean, you're not in bed every day with somebody all day long.
If we should all be so lucky.
Right.
Because now you got a lot of questions for
Oh,
them,
yeah.
right? You
Your
got
mind's
tons of questions.
if it
So,
doesn't have the question today, you're going to have them tomorrow because all of a sudden you got to go home and you go to bed and think about that and lay there with your wife and tell her. So tomorrow you get some questions.
so just say, I don't want to pressure you, but let me know if it's okay to ask questions. And then they'll let you know if it's okay to ask questions.
Right. Right. Or
Mhm.
if it's something you cross the line and maybe you want to talk about it in a later date, they'll let you know that too. Because they have to deal with the fact they just told their mom and dad that they're gay.
And I just keep this in mind. We come out to a mom and dad, we are so afraid that we're going to lose their love. And that's what you got to know. We're not saying because we want to be proud and we want to brag and we want to put it in your face. No, it's we're so afraid to say.
Right. Right.
So all you got to do
So
is
another
say,
thing they're
hey,
saying, oh, is thank you for telling me. This is what you're supposed to say as a parent. This is a good thing to say. Thank you for telling me. Is this something you want me to keep between us? Or do you need help from me to help you tell like the rest of the family or, you know, what exactly do you want to do? Because it's really when it comes down to it, it's all up to you. Thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget, hit the subscribe button,
and a
hit the
notification
that's
button.
right, so you can get a message each and every time we put up a video. Thank you very much.
See you next
Bye.
time.
Love you.
Bye.